Hi everyone, and welcome to Thought for the Week. As last week, I'm coming to you from London. I'm here at the Albert Memorial, and this is Prince Albert, who's pictured here in gold, sitting in the middle. And this was erected by Queen Victoria. He was the love of her life, and when he passed away, she was devastated, and she built this huge monument in Hyde Park to him. And it's the perfect place for us to talk about the second aspect of being made in the image of God that we looked at last week. We were looking at Genesis 1:26, where God said, "Let us make man in our image," our tselem. And the first thing we learned last week is that because of that, we reflect. So we reflect God. We are made in His image, and thus we represent Him in the world, and we reveal more of who God is to the world just by being made by Him. The second thing we learn from Genesis 1:26, and my Old Testament professor used to always say at Gordon Conwell that all good theology starts in Genesis. So there's some deep seeds of theology here about who we are in this creation story. And the second thing we learn about who we are is that we rule. I don't know if you woke up this morning and thought, I rule, I rock, but you do, you rule. And as we look at Genesis 1:26, we see a lot of royalty language. He says, you will rule over the fish of the sea, you will have dominion over the earth, you will care for the earth. And so it's this idea of not just God being a king, but us also having power. Not just dignity, being made in the image of God, but also power. And it's a call to use our power well, our rule well. Now, some of you will say to me, Erin, I have no power. What power do I have? I have, a very limited scope. Maybe I'm a stay-at-home mom, or maybe I feel low down the totem pole at my workplace. But all of us have some power over the people around us, over the things that come through our lives. And so the question that Genesis 1 is really asking us this week, I think, is how are we using that power? God has given has good things for everyone that He's created, whether they know Him or not. And injustice is the misuse of power to take away from people the good things that God has for them. How are you using your power, however little it may be, to bring flourishing to the people around you, to restore to them the good things God has for them, or to use that power to take that away from them, whether it's their dignity or their labor? We are made to reflect God in so many ways, His love, His caring for the world, but also He's given us responsibility, and He's given us the dignity of responsibility. So how are we using that dignity this week? How are we using it to reflect God and also for the flourishing of the world around us? Psalm 8 is what many commentators say is the greatest commentary on Genesis 1. So if you have time this week, today, do look at Psalm 8. It again talks about how mankind is crowned with glory and honor as we are created in God's image. We're crowned with glory like a king. Now, this is not the power that man would normally use, but we're given power, the kind of power that God uses, the way He exercises His power, which is always one of service. God uses His power not in a tyrannical way, but in an invitation. He uses His power to invite. He uses His power to release, to bring freedom. He uses His power to care for His creation and things that have been given to Him. So how can we use ours to do the same way? And perhaps our greatest example of this is Jesus. Jesus was the servant king, the one who came as a shepherd king, to use His power to serve those that He'd created, to use His power to bless the world. How will we do that this week? And as we go and we think about how we're crowned with glory and honor, how we reflect God, maybe you didn't wake up this morning thinking, I am glorious as you looked in that mirror. Most of us don't. But the truth is we are being changed from glory into glory every day. Not because of anything we could do, but by the grace of God and by the power of His Holy Spirit. So how can we allow His sanctifying Spirit to continue to create that glory in us, but also to make us those that rule, that serve with our power, that serve others, that bring others to flourishing? I hope you have a great week. Bye.